Welcome to the Reboot Wellness Podcast, your go-to space for insightful conversations on all things mental health, fertility, fitness, personal growth, mindfulness, workplace well-being, and so much more. I'm Vivian Ugochi, your host. We're going to be having a very interesting conversation, and I need you to pay attention because a lot is going to be said. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself. Everything I left out, tell it to us.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Theophilus. I am a yoga and wellness coach. I've been teaching for over 8 years.
So I'm particularly really interested in this conversation because I've personally practiced meditation for a while now, and I went into it because of how rowdy my mind can get in terms of thinking a lot. So I started to practice this, to just help declutter my mind, and it's really been helpful, right? But one thing I've never gone into is yoga because I never fully understood it, right? So before we go in deep into the conversation, let's break the ice by just letting us into what yoga is really about. Yoga first, then meditation.
Okay. So yoga is a practice, ancient, but a practice that, focuses on bringing harmony to your mind, to your body, to your spirit. So it's yoga in its word is called union. And it basically is about harmonizing your body, your mind, and your spirit.
Lovely.
And then we'll talk about meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation is more about, it's also a practice that focuses on achieving a certain level of inner stillness and inner peace, mental clarity. So yeah, it does help to complement yoga sometimes.
Okay, I was going to ask that. Do they complement each other?
Yeah,
Can one exist without the other?
Well, yoga, of course, it's a practice on its own. However, meditation does help to enhance your yoga practice. Yoga provides you with the tools that are necessary for a better meditation.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
I see that. That's really interesting, actually. So for people that meditate but don't necessarily do yoga, do you think that they're missing out on something?
Yes, because yoga again is more than the physical postures you see on the mat, right? A lot of people, when they see yoga, when they hear about yoga, they just see the postures of raising your legs up or bending back or lifting one, something like that. But it's a lot more than that because it covers, some moral, some ethical observances and disciplines that, as an individual are necessary, to achieving your, a better version or a best version of yourself.
Okay. So what do you have to say to people that think that yoga is only meant for women? That's a really touchy topic because that's the first thing you would hear when you ask an average person about yoga. They'll say, oh, is that a woman's thing? So what do you have to say to those people? Because I know for a fact that that's not right.
Yeah. I just said, come and try a yoga class first and see.
If you think it's only built for women.
Yeah, if it's only a women's sport. But, in truth is, it's for everybody, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender, regardless of, your physical abilities. Anybody and everyone can practice.
So where do you think that came from? Because I'm actually curious. Who do you think started that rumor? That
I have no idea, honestly. I have no idea, honestly. But I think it's because of the fact that there's a lot of, it doesn't involve a lot of high intensity workouts, trainings, or
looking from the outside at someone doing yoga, it doesn't seem like a hard thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem hard at all.
Yeah.
It's like the most basic one is crossing your legs. Like everyone can cross their legs, right?
Well, so.
I believe everyone can cross their legs. And then when you see some people doing yoga, it seems like, oh, I can do this. Like, I can do this. But like when you actually get in the position, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my days. Like when I did yoga for the first time, I was too stunned to speak. I was like, you people do this thing on your own, like by your own free will. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I see that there are a lot of benefits of doing yoga.
Yeah.
You've mentioned a few, but let's have that conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let the people know like what are the primary benefits, right, of the yoga practice.
So benefits spans across mental, to physical, to emotional benefits, right? If you're talking about physical benefits, there's weight loss, if that's where what you want. There's increased flexibility. There's improved strength, toning. If you want a more
Yeah.
toned body, it's definitely going to get you there. Strength, yes, because there's a lot of chaturanga that you're going to be doing, so it helps.
What's that?
It's kind of like they call it a yogic push-up.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a lot of it's like
strength
your
training in
yeah
that.
yeah. So it's quite it can be quite rigorous depending, and then you're getting your strength as well. You're building your strength as well. If you're talking about mental, emotionally, you're talking about managing stress levels, right? It's a great tool for stress management, managing your emotions, whether it's anxiety, depressions, and whatnot. That's where a lot of meditation comes in, and meditation comes into yoga as well. You talk about, you have clarity, mental clarity. Also for childbirth, it's great for health, improves cardiovascular fitness and whatnot. So there's a whole bunch of them out there. If I start to list,
Yeah,
it's going to be
a lot.
It's going to be long.
I get that. For beginners, people that are just starting out,
Yeah.
or that are thinking of going into the yoga practice,
Yeah.
what would you tell them to not make them run away?
So I think it's more about starting small, starting where you're at. Yeah. Because a lot of people that just come, they see people who have been doing it for years, and they assume that this is what they're going to be doing
Immediately.
and then it scares them or frightens them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the whole point is to start small. Even if you're not able to touch your toes, just start where you're at. There's always modifications for everybody, right?
And
Depending
just like in exercise,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, there's modifications for everybody depending on your level, flexibility, strength, or otherwise. So start small, and gradually you grow and you progress through
But
it.
are there any challenges that beginners would face?
Yeah, I would say that I think one of them would be flexibility. There's a lot of beginners who, are inflexible, and that usually poses some kind of challenge to them because, when you're in class, they're telling you touch your toes or touch your, bend backwards or something, get your hands to your heels in a camel pose.
Okay.
Those things are usually quite difficult for a new person. So, of course, that's where the modifications come in. Another one, I think I wouldn't say intimidation per se, but the fact that, of course, when they see all these other people who are
Yeah.
doing it, they feel that they can't do it. So they don't feel comfortable coming into the studio because of it. I mean, I've had a few people tell me that they would rather do private sessions first.
Yeah, because
To be sure that they've gotten the hang of it, before coming into the class.
To the class.
That kind of can be intimidating for them sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, since we're talking about the class now, are there any things that an individual should look out for when dealing with a yoga instructor or a yoga class, like to ensure the effectiveness of the class or the instructor? Are there any things that they should look out for?
As a beginner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say first, very important, finding an experienced instructor, because you don't want to go hurting yourself in any way.
Exactly.
And someone who's very compassionate and kind, because not everybody would meet you where you're at or hold space for you.
Yeah.
So that's really important, finding someone who is compassionate, who is kind, and who is there to hold space for you, as well as, very concerned, or I would say who cares about proper alignment. Because if you're not aligned properly in your postures, it's very easy for you to injure yourself or hurt yourself as a beginner, because you're putting pressure on joints that should not be pressured. Or straining certain things or muscles that should not be stressed.
Or muscles that you haven't even stressed before. Right? Because after I did yoga for the first time, places in my body was hurting me. Like, I didn't even know that
activated
the
muscles.
back of my knee could hurt me. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, it was so confusing, honestly. But after this conversation, I know that I will be open to it more. But after that first day, I ran. Okay. Just because I've heard part of your story, and I feel like it's really encouraging. I feel like everyone's story kind of leads them to their vision, right? And by story, I mean the encounters that you faced that made you discover what you want to start doing. I've actually read that everyone has a story that leads them to their vision. And hearing your story, I see that the challenges that you had faced led you to yoga, right? So just share that story with us and your journey, coming up.
Okay, so like I said, I started yoga, some 10 years ago, and it was more health issues, because I think that's how a lot of people actually start a lot of their fitness things. Right? Fitness journeys. So I used to have like this chronic insomnia because I would not sleep for days. I'm getting like in a week you're getting less than 8 hours of sleep and you're moving around so morose because you can't get good rest. And of course I had like hereditary arthritis. I would wake up in the morning some days and I'm not able to move because my joints were hurting. I was just like in so much pain then. So a friend of mine introduced me to yoga because I was flexible. I was quite active as a kid, and just told me, you could just try yoga. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And he told me, go research on it. And I did, and I found out, that there's certain benefits which involved, helping with sleep issues as well as arthritic pains. And I'm like, okay, let me give it a try. So I first started online, YouTube. Googled. My first yoga class or online yoga teacher was like Kino Yoga. I think she's quite popular. So I did it, and that first day I slept before 10. I was out like a light.
Nice.
It was crazy. So I woke up the next morning. I was like, it's like there's something here. And then I did it a few more times, and my joints started feeling better. And over about 10 years I've been doing it, I haven't felt as much pain as I used to feel like. Years I would not wake up in the morning and I'm unable to move because it makes it a lot easier because I don't want to go anatomical right now, but I do know that movement does stimulate your synovial fluids to help lubricate your joints, and this is what actually does help me
as well. Lovely. So, and that experience rolled over to you creating Ophil.
Yes.
So tell us how Ophil was born. What gave you the seriousness, the temerity to open a business like that? Because I know that in a country like Nigeria, before you get people, before you convince people about like a certain thing, you must have done a lot of things. So I imagine how that would be. So just share that with us.
Well, I think I started Ophil, I think, as a studio properly in, I think, 2020, last year. But prior to that, I was, doing attaché as an individual. I just started the brand, and it was all born out of me wanting to be able to share this particular thing. That has helped me grossly, and share it with other people and make sure that they have access to these things. Because not everybody is cut out for the gym, honestly. I've been to the gym a few times, and I wouldn't say it's not my scene because I'm not trying to cut it out completely, but yoga is more my scene. It's more my thing. It's easier on my joints. It's easier for me to work with. So I wanted to be able to share that with people, to make them know that it's not just the gym. It's not just
That's
going
not
to the
the
gym.
only
it's not the only
option
way.
you
Yeah,
have.
you have this option that can actually help you and assist you, and this might be more effective for you if this is what you're more about.
Yeah, I think that's very important, really, because a lot of people like shy away from working out.
Yeah.
Because they feel like working out starts and ends in the gym. And maybe for social issues where they don't really like public, or they just don't like the gym scene, they just remove, that physical awareness from their routine, as opposed to knowing that there are other things you can do, like yoga, like taking a walk, like skipping. Like, to be honest, like when I started being conscious of my physical health, I didn't like the gym as well, but I liked skipping. And skipping made me lose so much weight at the time. I was just skipping. I would just wake up in the morning and skip, right? So because I was open to that, I was able to improve in that aspect. But then a lot of people don't know that there are other options for them. So they're just like hell-bent on, one particular thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how to help people integrate yoga into their daily practice, like yoga, meditation, whatever it may be, right? How can someone incorporate this to their lifestyle?
So yoga basically provides us with certain tools that we can do not just on the mat, but off the mat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you've ever attended a full yoga class, you hear the person say, breathe. Your instructor say, breathe, or release and let go, or certain things like that. Just tiny, tiny cues like that. So these things are not just only applicable on the mat, but also off it. Because you find out that when you're in stressful situations, breathing does help. Because in yoga, we teach, one of the 8 limbs we have is pranayama, breath control, breath work. So different breathing techniques that would help cope with or manage stressful situations outside of life, or outside the studio or the classroom. You talk about letting go, emotions, finding balance, which are like, non-violence and compassionate and all those things. These tools are things that are provided by yoga for us to do off the mat, and incorporating them as individuals one day at a time actually makes us be better for ourselves and for people around us. Honestly.
I like that. All right, Cynthia, we're going to go into the 8 limbs of yoga now, and this way you're going to do all the talking, because I don't know anything. Okay, I've done my own research, I've done my own findings, but I want to hear from you just to have a better understanding of what the 8 limbs are.
Okay, so the 8 limbs of yoga are more a framework, right? It's a progressive path for an individual's journey. So it just helps you, incorporate these things, because it just shows you that yoga is not just a physical, like the asanas that we see. It's just one part of it. So imagine like a tree that has like different branches. 8 branches, and the whole thing is the tree. So yoga is the tree with its different branches.
Okay. Basically. And all those different branches are quite important.
Very important.
To the body, to the main tree.
That helps you achieve, full-on bliss or individual enlightenment or
happiness.
Happiness.
Whatever you're looking for.
Whatever
I
you're
actually
looking for.
like that. So let's go to the first one. I think the first one is asanas, right?
Well, it's kind of the third, but yeah.
What's the first?
Yamas.
Yamas, okay. Yeah. And yamas is?
Yamas are more ethical principles, like restraints that you are doing for yourself or for others, basically.
Okay. So are these like things, the 8 limbs, are these like things you think about while you're doing yoga, or like how do they, like the yanas now, the ethical, I think I understand it to be like state of mind where ethical codes are concerned, like what the state of your mind is when it comes to ethical things, right? Or is that what it means? Or
so yamas are kind of, how we have like the 10 commandments, in the Bible, or it's the yamas and the niyamas are kind of like moral conduct for people around us.
Like, is there a list of things on under this limb of yoga.
On the yamas and of course.
The
So
list
like
of
the
things.
yamas, you
Okay.
have like your ahimsa. Ahimsa is non-violence, or easily translated to kindness, compassion, right? So it tells you now to be kind and compassionate to yourself, to those around you, right? So your actions, should reflect a certain level of kindness.
That's okay.
Do you understand? So it's easier for people to be kind to other people, giving out food and whatever, but then you're not kind to yourself. So when in your classroom, especially depending on the classroom or the teacher who's teaching, sometimes your theme, the theme of your yoga class can be centered around
a particular limb of yoga.
a particular, or a particular yama, or something.
Okay.
Or principle, depending, could be just something else. But they will tell you, practice non-violence. So which means you should be kind and compassionate to yourself on the mat. So you're not forcing, you're not overdoing things. If you can't reach it, just stop where you're at. Don't try to overdo it.
Like being graceful with yourself.
So
like
exactly, giving yourself grace. So that translates, of course, off the mat to people. You have your, truthfulness, satya. It talks about you being truthful to yourself, owning your truth, as well as, of course, being truthful to others.
Thank you for tuning in to the Reboot Wellness Podcast. I hope today's episode brought you one step closer to living your best, most intentional life. Don't forget to hit subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform so you'll never miss an episode. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who could use a little reboot in their lives. Until next time, stay blessed, stay mindful, and keep showing up for yourself. Take care.